Money Vikings, welcome back. Thanks for joining. I have a good one for you today, and please sit back, relax. Let's check this out together. Put it on in the background because I think this information will help you be not only a better collector, you'll enjoy collecting more, but I actually believe that we will make more money over the long run with these ideas in mind. And I think they're important ideas for collectors. So the title of this is why I shifted more into investing, quote unquote, and collecting comics versus cards. Now, let me be upfront. I enjoy card collecting quite a bit, and I enjoy Magic cards, new ones, classic ones. I enjoy sorcery cards. I've done a few sorcery contested realm videos. Go check out Mike over at the Sorcery Channel, Art House, the Collector's Art House channel. It's a very cool channel. I have enjoyed a lot of the Marvel cards, a lot of the Upper Deck, and the different Skybox, just the different Marvel cards. I've done some openings, as you know, for those. So anyway, and some collectible toys as well are kind of interesting. But my main thing that got me into collecting were comic books. And I want to talk about why I focus on comic books over the long run versus cards. So a lot of this is in light of the recent crazy kind of news out of Wizards of the Coast where they banned four very popular, kind of recent popular cards. I think it was the little thief monkey guy, something like Pilfer something. The Mana Vault. And there was, the biggest one was Jeweled Lotus, right? That was probably the more, pop-up thing. Okay, so Jeweled Lotus as well was one of those cards that kind of had a pretty good value and it got banned, right? And so it kind of gets to the heart of what I'm trying to say about collecting comics versus cards. So because cards are game pieces. They can be collectible items as well, as we've seen. I mean, the Power 9 and the original Magic cards and the packs are worth huge amounts of money. It's eye-watering money. I think, old Black Lotus cards are like $100,000, So it's real money. So those are real collector's pieces. Real collector's items. They're not just little game pieces for kids to mess around with. That's serious money. But a lot of the modern Magic stuff, I think, is going to have a lot of problems over the long run. And part of it is, and I'll go into why, and I'm going to talk about a lot about why comics, I think, are so much better in terms of collecting. So they are, number one, they are game pieces. I got into it because of the game and the art. I love the art and all that. But let me just go into comics first. So, number one, comics just for collecting purposes, comics in my mind just present better. So I look at them as works of art. I love the design. I like the color. I like the storyline. I like the characters. I like the mythology. And it's a much different situation being able to, I'm just showing you some of my favorite comics here. Collectibles, Wolverine #1. Here's Incredible Hulk 40. So what I really like is being able to put these out on display. And I just enjoy them. I think they look really cool. And that's a much different story. If you have something like this on display, first of all, people can see it and they can comment it and you can enjoy it as like a community or as a friend group. So that's kind of fun. But let's check that one out. That's cool. That was in the Deadpool Wolverine movie, had sort of a homage to this moment when you saw Wolverine pull out his claws and you saw Hulk in the reflection. So compare that to, again, here's a card I really like. Here's one of the Lord of the Rings cards in Elvish script from the Lord of the Rings set, but it just doesn't present as well. Is it a cool collectible? Yeah. Is it worth money? Yeah. Now this one is particular because Lord of the Rings. That's going to hold value. But when you get into some of the other stuff, I guess I would argue that is Brothers War, which I really liked that set, But are those cards, are a lot of those cards going to hold value? I don't know. I guess it depends on their playability, really, right? That seems to be the key, is their playability. So that's my first thing. Comics, I think, comic books just present better in terms of works of art than cards do. I like cards, I like the art, but comics do present better. I mean, how cool is that? How cool is it to have that kind of displayed? Just a great art, great image. I love it. Okay. Number 2. So the keys. Comic books, they talk a lot about keys, okay? And if you want to make a connection to cards, it would be, there are key cards in terms of collectibles. And I talked about like Black Lotus, the Power 9. There's hundreds of them over the years that are, seem to be critical cards that people value. But I think over time that's going to be diminished. So Wizards of the Coast and these other companies have shown, Hasbro, they've shown that they will just reprint everything with like Magic 30. They'll reprint everything. And when you reprint, you just have a classic economic supply and demand issue. And that's what it's about. It's about supply and demand. That whether it's cards or comics, it's supply and demand. A Black Lotus is worth so much because there are so few of them. They got all torn up and played. No one thought of it as a collectible, right? The same goes for comic books. Comic books, depending on their scarcity, are worth more. So if you get older comic books like this Amazing Spider-Man number 31, right? People didn't really think of these as collectibles at the time. They were just things that like the kids would play with and look at and read and enjoy, and then mom would throw them away. That happened a lot. Another example is this Action Comics. What do I have? Action Comics 254, first appearance of Bizarro, right there. So that's pretty cool. Very cool, Superman. But again, this is very rare. Kids would throw them away. Or the moms would throw them away. Or they'd get trashed, whatever it was. But with comics, supply and demand is everything. And with cards. So the problem with the cards versus comics is this. This can never be reprinted from its original. Now, Marvel, I guess, technically could make new copies of this, but it would be put in its own category. They they call them facsimile copies. They make facsimiles sometimes of classic books, and they remake them. But it's different. It doesn't really count as the original. This is the original. This original print run from the 60s. And making it in the year 2024, 2025 is just going to be something that it might have some value, but it's not going to have the value of this one. It doesn't count against the supply of this. I don't know why that's different with cards, but for some reason it kind of is. In some ways. There's some similarities. Okay. But comic books have an advantage because the keys, as they talk about, are more specific to characters and a storyline. So keys are considered like when first events happen, when there's first appearances of a character, or the first time an event happens. So this is the first appearance of Gwen Stacy, very famous Spider-Man character, on a cover. Well, no one can ever take that key away from this. This is always that, right? So that's always that. I'm trying to see if I can find another key here. So, well, here's Batman 404. This is one of the first comics where they tell the whole story about his parents and the whole origin story in the modern age, you could say. It was back in the 80s, this one. Okay, so that's a key. Oh, first appearance, that's a key. It's critical for comics. Let's see if I can find another one here. Oh, here's a good one. So here's a good one. Here's a fun one right here. So here is first appearance of Deadpool. That's a key. No one can ever take that away from New Mutants 98. It's first appearance of Deadpool. Always will be, never will change. It's a little different with cards. Okay, it's a little different with cards. All right, that's number 2. Number 3. The long-term intellectual, this is all about intellectual property. Okay, these characters and these cards and the art are what's considered intellectual property. And like any kind of property, income can be generated from it. Classic example is the intellectual property of Lord of the Rings. So what did Magic do? They bought the rights to print a Lord of the Rings set, and they probably had to share with the owners of the Lord of the Rings intellectual property. They shared in the profits, right? So they bought and they shared in the profits. Now, this would be an example of a Magic set that I believe would hold value because the intellectual property is strong. It's tied to a strong intellectual property. Now, a bunch of Magic sets I don't think have very good intellectual property or IP. And there's just tons of sets like that because the characters and the stories are not on a mass scale. There's no 5-year-old. So there are millions, it's almost Halloween. There's millions of 5-year-olds that are going to dress up like Spider-Man and Wolverine and Deadpool and the Hulk and Captain America. The list goes on and on. Iron Man. I don't see as many Supermans anymore, but maybe that'll come back. Who knows? Batman. Batman is very popular. Jedis. So if you see 5 or 7-year-olds dressing up as these characters, I think you instantly know that you have strong intellectual property. Well, when did you ever see a kid dress up as a Magic the Gathering Planeswalker or Commander? Never. You never see that. So it's, in a way, unfortunately, it's almost kind of like a dying thing because everyone who's playing this is older and they're just going to play it, who knows, for a few years, then maybe give it up or go back to it later. But my point is the intellectual property with comics is strong. I'm sorry to say it, Superman's forever. And he ebbs and flows with popularity depending on the movies and the quality of the movies. But that IP is forever. It's cultural. It's an icon, right? It's mythology. X-Men are very strong intellectual property. It's forever. It's at least for a long time, I can tell you that. Star Wars is really good intellectual property. Millions of children go to Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland and buy lightsabers at 6 years old. And they're going to remember that their whole life. And they're going to be happy about it and enjoy it. And they like lightsabers and Star Wars and spaceships and Darth Vader and fighting the bad guy. They love it. So there you go. All right. Number 4. So the bottom line with cards, collecting cards, so I'm specifically talking about Magic here and Flesh and Blood, stuff like that, is that the cards are actually meant for play. So they are game pieces first. They're not collectible items. Comics are meant to be books and read and enjoyed for the story, but I do think a lot of people consider comics collectibles, like almost before. And where again, Magic cards are our first game pieces. And I think the company will tell you that, if they were honest. Okay. Number 5. Comics are mass modern mythology. They are mass modern mythology. Okay. So the stories of X-Men, Superman, Batman, Star Wars, Spider-Man, on and on and on, Iron Man. For what it's worth, that is modern mythology on a massive scale. People love the stories. They love the characters. They love the struggles, the triumphs, the way the characters change, what they do, etc. There's nothing like that in Magic. It's just not the same. It just is not the same. So now it could change someday, but not right now. And so that leads me to the final thing. Comics are always going to have a broader collector base. And the reason for that is, again, goes back to the mythology, the characters, they're identifiable, people like them. You know, how many 12-year-olds or 10-year-olds right now that just love Deadpool, right? The Deadpool Wolverine. You know, in 20 years, 30 years, they're going to have nostalgia about those movies. And that means something like New Mutants 98 is still going to have value. This is the first time the world ever saw a picture of Deadpool. It was the first drawing right here of Deadpool that went into the mass market. So something like that is probably going to hold value. It's probably going to be something that a lot of people want. Are a lot of people going to want a random Magic card? Some people will, but probably not a lot. So hey, leave a comment. Let me know. Maybe I'm totally wrong. I like Magic. I still collect the cards, so I'm not against it. But I do think that the comics that I own are going to be worth more in the future. And in a lot of ways, I get more out of them. Again, just because of they're larger and I can sort of, use them as sort of decorative items and I just enjoy them. And all the other reasons that I talked about combined. So leave your comments. What do you think? Are you over Magic? Are you done? Especially with the recent bannings. No more Mana Vault. No more Jeweled Lotus. Or do you totally disagree? Are comics going down? Nobody wants them in the future. And Magic cards are going to be where all the value's at. Like, people are still going to want a Black Lotus. Maybe. I don't know. Are today's kids going to want a Black Lotus? Are they going to even know what that is? I mean, it'll be something that like their grandpas, their 80-year-old, 85-year-old. I mean, guys who played with a Black Lotus are like 55 now, right? So they're not young. They're 55. They're 60 years old at this point. If they were in the year 1991 or whatever, had these cards, or 1990, whatever it was, God, that was 35 years ago almost. Well, it was Magic 30. Okay, so 30 some odd years ago. So if they were 20, okay, they're 50, in their 50s. So in 30 more years, they're going to be 80, in their 80s. And are the younger people that are collecting, are they going to want what their grandfather collected? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe not. Okay, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, all that great stuff. And see you on the next one, everybody. Bye.